Getting your work out there is probably one of the hardest parts of being a photographer. Instagram's great as a sort of look and feel for who you are and what your brand is, but I think in my mind, Instagram is used more by other photographers rather than the commissioners.
When I started, we never had social media. So I was doing market stalls, I was putting flyers indoors. I used to do a lot of blogging as well. It allows my clients to get to know what I'm up to, which then keeps me in the memories. And they're like, oh yes, I need to hire Mel's. Oh yes, she does this. Oh, it just keep people reminding them about what it is that you do.
A few of my photographers have had paid ads both on Meta and LinkedIn, and they saw really good engagement with those paid ads. But I think in the early stages, understanding all the different platforms and the tones that people use on those platforms to communicate with each other and how that varies is quite important. LinkedIn's more corporate, more professional, and so the sort of edit of work that you put on LinkedIn could be different to the edit of work and the tone that you take on your socials.
My top 3 tips for gaining visibility with your work is putting yourself out there. So network, go to events that are connected to photography, obviously. So get that inspiration, talk to people. You never know like who you can bump into. Putting your work out there. We have imposter syndrome where we do not share our stuff because we're scared of what people think and will anybody like it, or we have an expectation of what we want people's reaction to be. So if we don't get that reaction, it then hits our ego in that sense and it makes us not want to put anything more out there. If you think about it, Instagram, you have 5,000 followers, but it's not 5,000 people that are booking you. It's literally going to be probably like 3% of those people. So every time you post, someone else new could see it, tell them what you're about, even though you might feel like you're repeating yourself over and over again, there's going to be that one person who'll be like, oh my God, I need that. You're talking to somebody all the time, even if you don't realize you are.
No matter what stage of your career you're at, I think the community that we're all part of, this creative community, flourishes when we all come together.
Networking as a photographer is probably what gets me the most work. Whether that's connecting with someone on Instagram that you like and sending them a DM, a friendly DM saying, hey, you're cool. Or going to like photography walk with other people you like or other photographers, or just speaking to people at other creative events, whether that is at a festival or is, in my case, at a club event. It's a small circle, the world we work in, and it's hard to forget that, especially what you see online. What's important is to reach out to people you like and hopefully set up a network.
A lot of it as well is client referrals. So for example, me shooting a wedding, how the guests see me is very important. So, you know, I'm well-mannered towards the guests. I'm kind, I'm friendly, because at the end of the day, as well as photographing my couple, I'm photographing them as well. And then what can happen is, while at a wedding, I then had a lot of clients that saw me at a wedding and then booked me for their wedding. So it then becomes a domino effect. So when you're out there and you're shooting, make sure, you know, you're presenting yourself well in that sense of knowing what you're doing, kind to people, because you don't know, that person that you're talking to could actually literally be your next client.
The thing with connections leading to work is sometimes it's not a straight line. And I think at the beginning of my career, I was very interested in not using people, but seeing people as this is an opportunity for me to get some work. And I think that was the wrong approach, because then you're not really investing on, first of all, your story, your own process, and the other people, what they have to say.
It shows key skills. Being able to collaborate with people means that you can communicate your ideas clearly. It means you can be a team player. It may mean that you can also take the lead and push projects through and persevere with things.
So there's a few portfolios I have now which are spread from a digital portfolio and then a physical portfolio, which is a big book which I carry around to show people. I find Instagram is best to show anybody. Your first 9 images is there to convince someone what you do and how authentic you are, essentially. From that, I built a website, and then I have a portfolio aside to show then other clients and other people.
You need to be aware of what people is doing nowadays. You need to be able to communicate very precisely and very fast what you do. For that, you need to develop a really good skill, which is editing your own work.
My top tips for creating connections is speak to everyone you love, or like every photographer, every videographer, reach out to them, DM them, speak to people on the street that has a cool camera and just ask them what they're doing. Don't scare people, and be honest and earnest. Be open to speak to people that you don't normally associate with, or just be a true version of yourself throughout your work and you and your voice.
I'm an agent and a producer, so when I'm looking for a new photographer, the first and foremost is obviously talent. You know, do they have gorgeous work? Are they creating stuff that resonates with me personally or fits within my brand? And the second most important thing is that they have clear communication skills and potentially business insight. If I see an amazingly talented photographer but they're not doing any marketing, they're not sending a newsletter or updating their website or active on any other social platform, it's a warning sign for me, because it means that they potentially don't want to or don't have the ability to do that. And it's really important. Having a clear brand identity, knowing how to grade your work, knowing how to crop it, knowing of the 500 shots that you took yesterday, which 3 are killer. That's what I can't teach someone. I need someone to present that to me.
Some of the qualities I would look for in an agent are making sure that they don't have similar photographers on their roster. So like making sure that your work doesn't clash with anybody else. Making sure that you actually have a good relationship with them, making sure you have someone that you can trust, and share and talk about everything in terms of like how you want to grow as a photographer, that they can offer you support.
I think what might be more important than having an agent is having a community of people within the industry that you can speak to and rely on honest and truthful answers, whether that be for editing your work or sound checking a contract that you've received that maybe feels like it's a bit aggressive, or even asking how much does it cost to set build a trampoline or have a dog and a vet on set. So being active in your community, being parts of forums, going to events, all of this helps build your practice and extend your community.
Making sure that all your work is quite cohesive, so you've got a style. Having lots of different personal works as well as commercial clients and brands. And definitely printing out portfolio so that whoever's representing you will be able to show something to potential clients. And yeah, ultimately just making sure that you feel comfortable in doing a large commercial job and taking on something that you probably didn't have experience in before.
Techniques that I use when doing public speaking, I use my hands a lot. So that's my comfort. Before I go on, which I have to do more than what I normally would, I will kind of talk myself through it, especially if I know a question that they might ask me.
It's good to rehearsal. It's good to keep timings about, and it's also to draw some kind of narrative. Like photography, we are storytellers, so when you do a presentation, it needs to be also a narrative. It needs to be a story being told. Regardless the topic that it is, you need to engage the audience. So think about how can you make the audience part of your journey and part of that talk.
One thing I realized is it's okay making mistakes. I feel like when you have a camera in front of your face or you're speaking in a panel discussion or whatnot, you feel like you have to say the right thing. There is no right thing. You are your own person and you are unique. Tell your story. It's okay. You don't know who is watching you, who you could actually help. Like, none of us are perfect. We're all still growing. As you reach one goal, you're ready to try and reach another. So it's okay, just breathe. You got this. So my 3 top tips for public speaking is breathe, practice a little but not too much, and have fun.